Think Progress put together the biggest attacks on reproductive rights in the year 2013. Listen to some of these. These are amazing when you think about how long ago Roe versus Wade was. I mean, it was supposed to be a settled issue back then, not even close to a settled issue. So in South Dakota, they passed a law that says women need to wait 3 days to choose to have an abortion. So, you know, if you go in and you say, you know, I thought about it and there was a mistake, there was an accident, whatever, and it's only been a couple days, we want to have an abortion, they make you wait. Now, apart from the fact that the longer time goes by, the worse off it is to get the abortion, so you should have it as soon as possible. I mean, obviously the preferable situation is the morning after pill. If you're in that type of situation, you get it the day after, right? But apart from that, how condescending is that to women? Like, oh, we're going to assume you haven't thought about it, and we're going to make you think about it for three days. And I love this last little caveat here, not including holidays. Because women can't use their brains on holidays, apparently, is the message being sent by the government of South Dakota. Yeah, some nice people we have over there. Arkansas passed a 12-week abortion ban into law. Now, this one is interesting because it's just flat out illegal. I mean, according to, first there was Roe versus Wade. That was the first, benchmark abortion case. And then later on there was another case where they came up with a new standard. Originally it was the trimester standard that was laid out in Roe versus Wade. Later on the standard became fetal viability, which is a slightly more conservative standard than the trimester standard. And basically they said from 24 weeks and after, states can regulate abortion however they want, basically. But before that, it's basically a right before that under the right to privacy, which is interpreted from the Constitution. So they just flat out ignored Supreme Court decisions and precedent and stare decisis and said, fuck it, no, we're going to do 12-week abortion ban. Sorry. And oftentimes what happens is they'll pass these laws because they just want to retry it in the Supreme Court. So they just keep redoing it. Now, if you think that's bad, how about North Dakota, which passed a 6-week abortion ban? Stay classy, North Dakota. Yet again, wildly unconstitutional. You're not allowed to do that. Texas shut down 1/3 of their abortion clinics already. Remember this whole big thing about the Texas abortion law? And there may be more to come because this case is in legal limbo. It's been going back and forth between decisions. But 1/3 of their abortion clinics shut down. That adversely affects millions of women in Texas because Texas is a tremendously large state. Also in Michigan, it's now law that women need to buy separate insurance, this just happened earlier this week, for if they get raped and they need an abortion. Throughout all the progressive blogs, they're calling this rape insurance because that's what it is. They say, no, you don't just, you think if you get raped, you could just get an abortion? No, you need to pay for that, and it's separate as part of your insurance. You need to opt into it. Oh my God. That really is a war on reproductive rights. You get raped and you can't get an abortion. They tell you got to pay for it separately and buy into it beforehand. What is this? What are we living in? Is this a Christian theocracy we have here? This is insane. In Mississippi, they only have one abortion clinic left. One in the whole state. And the governor, Phil Bryant, Republican, admitted, my goal, quote, my goal is, of course, to shut it down. Yeah, I don't think you get it, dude. You're not allowed to do that. They just blatantly disregard federal law. And of course, under the Constitution, there's the Supremacy Clause, which says federal law overrides state law. Now, sometimes we hear that and we like it. So, for example, when it comes to marijuana laws, if the states legalize it, we're like, okay, rock and roll. But technically, it's still illegal because on the federal level, it's illegal. But the conservatives, on the issue of abortion, this is always the first area where they just disregard no matter what. And then the issue of gun laws are the second one, where they pass their own laws which preemptively nullify all federal gun laws that might come in the future, which again, they're not allowed to do, but they do it anyway. So it's amazing how brazen they are with this. And then of course there's the TRAP laws. TRAP is the Targeted Regulation of Abortion Providers. And that's actually what it stands for. And what they do is they purposefully over-regulate abortion clinics to the point where they have to shut down. So the best example, I remember reading the article about this, and I was just stunned. I forget which state it was in, but it's at least 6 or 7 states now that they've been pushing these laws, where what they do is they'll have people from the state, operatives from the state, Republicans, go into an abortion clinic, take out a tape measure and just measure the hallways and measure the height of the ceilings. And we'll go, okay, great. So what we see here is that you have 12.5-foot high ceilings, and you got, whatever, 8-foot wide hallways here. Well, now, according to our federal regulations, state regulations, you need to have 9-foot wide ceilings, 9-foot wide hallway, and 15-foot tall ceilings. Sorry. Now you have 1 month to comply with this and redo your entire facility, or we have to shut you down. And then what happens? Well, none of these places have the funding to do it, so they have to shut down. And when some places actually make the concerted effort to change it, then what happens? Then the regulators come right back in after they make the changes and say, oh, that's nice, but sorry, we forgot to tell you. It's 2 feet taller ceilings and 3 feet wider hallways. Sorry. So then again, it's just a way of over-regulating so that they have to shut them down. They do arbitrary regulation that's burdensome that shuts them down. And of course, the massive irony of that is, what happened, Republicans? I thought you're the party of small government and no regulation. But here it is. They're calling for over-regulation because it's something that they just want to ban, which leads to my final point. This is the mark of people who can't actually win the argument when it's on the merits of the argument. They have to divert the conversation to cheat. They have to just, no, I can't debate you and win on the issue, so I'll just cheat and do it that way.